Asexual reproduction is a mode of reproduction that involves a single parent, resulting in offspring that are genetically identical to the parent. This process is prevalent across various life forms, including prokaryotic microorganisms, certain plants, fungi, and some animal species. The primary advantage of asexual reproduction is its efficiency, allowing for rapid population expansion without the need for a mate. However, it also leads to reduced genetic diversity, which can make populations more susceptible to environmental changes and diseases. Types of asexual reproduction. Binary fission. Binary fission is a straightforward and prevalent form of asexual reproduction observed primarily in prokaryotic organisms such as bacteria and archaea. In this process, the parent cell duplicates its genetic material and divides into two equal-sized daughter cells, each inheriting an identical copy of the DNA. This method ensures rapid population growth, especially under favorable environmental conditions. In eukaryotic organisms, a similar process occurs through mitosis, where the nucleus divides, followed by the division of the cytoplasm, resulting in two genetically identical cells. This mechanism is common in unicellular eukaryotes like amoebas and certain algae. Budding. Budding involves the formation of a new organism from a specific site on the parent organism. This new organism starts as a small protrusion, or bud, and grows by mitotic cell division. Once it reaches a certain size, it detaches from the parent and becomes an independent organism. This form of reproduction is observed in various organisms. Yeasts, single-celled fungi like Saccharomyces cerevisiae reproduce by budding, where a new cell develops from the surface of an existing cell. Hydra, a freshwater cnidarian, hydra reproduces by forming buds that develop into miniature adults, which then detach and lead independent lives. Certain plants. Some plants can reproduce through budding, where new shoots or branches develop from the parent plant and can establish as independent plants. Fragmentation. Fragmentation is a process where an organism's body breaks into distinct pieces, each capable of developing into a complete organism. This method is common in organisms with simple body organization and high regenerative capacities. Examples include planarians. These flatworms can regenerate complete individuals from body fragments. Certain annelid worms. Some segmented worms can reproduce by breaking into pieces, with each segment growing into a new worm. Sea stars. Many sea stars can regenerate entire bodies from a single arm, provided part of the central disc is attached. Fungi and plants. Many fungi and plants reproduce asexually through fragmentation. For instance, molds can spread through the fragmentation of their hyphae, and certain plants can propagate when parts like stems or roots break off and develop into new plants. Vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation is a form of asexual reproduction in plants where new individuals arise from specialized structures of the parent plant, such as stems, roots, or leaves. This method allows plants to rapidly colonize an area and is often utilized in agriculture and horticulture to produce crops with desirable traits. Common methods include runners, stolons, horizontal stems that grow above ground, producing new plants at nodes. Strawberries propagate through runners. Rhizomes, horizontal underground stems that produce new shoots and roots at intervals. Ginger and certain grasses spread via rhizomes. Tubers, swollen underground stems or roots that store nutrients. Potatoes are a classic example, where each eye can sprout into a new plant. Bulbs, short stems surrounded by fleshy leaves that store food. Onions and tulips reproduce through bulbs. Cuttings, parts of a plant, such as stems or leaves, that are cut and planted to grow new plants. Many houseplants and crops are propagated this way. Sporogenesis. Sporogenesis is the process of spore formation, a common reproductive strategy in fungi, algae, and some plants. Spores are specialized cells that can develop into new individuals without fertilization. They are typically resistant to adverse conditions, aiding in the survival and dispersal of the species. Fungi produce spores in structures like sporangia. These spores disperse and germinate into new fungal organisms. Algae. Certain algae produce spores that can withstand unfavorable conditions, ensuring the species' continuity. Plants. Non-flowering plants like ferns produce spores on the undersides of their fronds, which can grow into new plants under suitable conditions. Parthenogenesis is a form of asexual reproduction where an unfertilized egg develops into a new individual. This phenomenon occurs in various animal species and is often a response to environmental conditions where mates are scarce. Examples include invertebrates. Aphids can reproduce parthenogenetically, especially during favorable conditions, leading to rapid population increases. Reptiles. Some lizard species, like the whiptail lizard, consist entirely of females that reproduce through parthenogenesis. Sharks. Cases of parthenogenesis have been documented in captive female sharks, such as the bonnethead and blacktip sharks, where females produced offspring without male involvement. Birds. While rare, instances of parthenogenesis have been observed in domestic turkeys and chickens, leading to the development of embryos without fertilization. Subscribe.